Welcome back, everyone. This is another episode in our recap series of That Time I Got Reincarnated as a Slime on AniMonolith. Picking up from our last episode, the scene shifts back to Lubelius, where a fierce battle rages within the Inner Sanctum. The Inner Sanctum, Louis and Laplace were locked in battle. Louis fought with serious and precise strikes, attacking with lethal hand chops that generated shockwaves, while Laplace casually dodged and taunted him with his signature playful smirk. However, Louis doesn't care about that. He continues to attack and introduces himself as Roy Valentine's twin brother, named Louis Valentine. He explained how long ago a powerful and savage vampire lord once terrorized the world, until Luminous defeated and recruited him. However, due to his violent nature, she split him into two separate beings. Louis became the Pope of Lubelius, responsible for maintaining order. Roy became a demon lord, acting as a wild force of destruction. For years, both played their roles, keeping Lubelius balanced under Luminous's rule. While Roy was more aggressive, but Louis can analyze the body language, attack ability, and skills of his opponent better than his brother. Therefore, Louis knows that Laplace is smiling like that, but is still constantly looking for an opportunity to attack him. Although Laplace had easily slain Roy, Louis understood why. Laplace had never underestimated him. In addition, he understands that Laplace is much stronger than Roy. In that battle, despite Roy looking down on him, Laplace was very cautious. Therefore, Louis understands that Roy's death was completely deserved. After Roy died, Louis regained all of his old power. Now he is several times stronger than before. Confident in his superior power, Louis declared, "Enough of this. Aren't you tired? Just take a nap already." Louis launched a devastating attack, creating a shockwave so powerful that even Laplace's instincts screamed at him to flee. He jumped back. At that moment, Louis' attack hit the ground with an extremely terrifying force dot. This was an advanced version of Blood Rain, a technique that hid its magical aura to catch opponents off guard. Laplace knew he had to act fast, but before he could, Louis struck again. A barrage of blood spears restrained Laplace, followed by a massive explosion. The battle seemed over. As the smoke cleared, Laplace collapsed to the ground. But then, against all odds, he stood up. So, Laplace decided to use his trump card. "Run, Footman, or you'll die!" Laplace shouted. Footman also took the opportunity to run away. Laplace could have kept fighting, but he knew that if they stayed any longer, Footman would be killed. More importantly, their mission to stall the enemy was complete. Realizing this, Laplace made his escape, leaving Louis victorious, but unsatisfied. Meanwhile, inside the tomb, the battle between Luminous and Maria Rosso was still ongoing. The reason was because the Queen of Nightmares had not fought seriously. Maria, once the wife of Granbell Rosso, had been his strategist and closest companion. Their relationship was so close that when they were still enemies, Luminous secretly envied them. Now she was a resurrected corpse, brought back using the forbidden magic, Necrotic Revival. Luminous knew exactly what this meant. Granbell's love for Maria was so strong that he broke the laws of nature to bring her back. Despite her current state as a mindless undead, Luminous could still sense the kindness Maria once had. Perhaps because of certain relationships with Maria and the respect he had for her, Luminous did not want to fight seriously. During the battle, Maria also used many unique skills at the same time. That power also caused Luminous a lot of trouble. However, Maria was still too weak compared to the Queen of Nightmares. From there, she realized that Granbell was deliberately stalling for time for some purpose. Immediately, a sense of unease filled Luminous's mind. Suddenly, Gunther arrived to report that the intruders had escaped. But before he could finish speaking, both he and Luminous noticed something horrifying. The holy ark at the heart of the tomb was gone. For the first time in centuries, Luminous completely lost her composure. The shock left her stupefied, allowing Maria to land a direct hit. "Luminous-sama!" Gunther cried out in alarm. However, the pain snapped Luminous back to reality. She now had no choice but to accept the truth. The holy ark had been stolen. Filled with pure rage, Luminous brutally pierced Maria's chest, destroying her undead body. Then she unleashed her full power, roaring, "Granbell, you dare to do this? You dare to test my limits?" A colossal wave of magical energy erupted from her, completely obliterating the tomb. Gunther, realizing the severity of the situation, immediately responded, "I will hunt them down, my lady." He knew that if he failed, Luminous might destroy all of Lubelius in her fury. With her rage barely under control, Luminous tried to piece together the enemy's plan. The Holy Ark had been entrusted to her by an important friend. Inside, it contained a hero capable of destroying the world, an entity that even Luminous could not stop. Luminous had never revealed any information about the coffin before. Even Louis and Gunther only knew that there was a girl inside. The fact that Granbell was willing to sacrifice all his trump cards just to steal the Ark meant he had a greater plan. Therefore, Luminous wondered what Gran wanted to do with it. To answer that, Luminous headed straight towards the Grand Cathedral. The story shifts back to Rimuru, who realizes that Leon has also deduced that Granbell is the mastermind behind the current conflict. To maintain their cover, Rimuru and Leon engage in a staged sword fight while waiting for the right opportunity to eliminate Granbell. Despite the battle being a ruse, Rimuru finds himself struggling against Leon's exceptional swordsmanship. Leon's technique is a flawless combination of speed, efficiency, and elegance. Meanwhile, Rimuru employs Hakuru's sword techniques, mixed with his personal improvisations and enhanced by Raphael's battle analysis. At times, Rimuru nearly finds himself skewered by Leon's strikes, prompting him to scrutinize Leon's face for any signs of true hostility. Yet Leon remains utterly emotionless, making Rimuru wonder if he truly understands the plan. Raphael then confirms that Leon is indeed coordinating with him, allowing Rimuru to relax and switch to auto-battle mode, using Raphael's assistance while observing the chaotic battlefield. The entire region of Lubelius is in turmoil. The destruction is far worse than Rimuru had anticipated. Diablo has yet to return. Shion and Ranga are locked in a fierce battle against Rajun. Hinata and Granbell remain evenly matched, though Granbell still has the energy to spare. If the fight continues, Rimuru fears that Hinata might lose. Amidst his analysis, a sudden tremor shakes the battlefield. Then, from within the Grand Cathedral, a massive pillar of light erupts from an underground chamber, obliterating everything in its path. Luminous emerges from the hole holding Maria in her arms. Luminous confronts Granbell. Granbell, so you truly intend to become my enemy? Luminous's voice drips with fury, stunning everyone present. With Luminous's arrival, Leon and Rimuru also felt no need to pretend anymore. However, Granbell remains unnervingly calm, even as Hinata increases the speed and intensity of her attacks. He effortlessly counters her while engaging in a conversation with Luminous. Granbell reveals that he had infused Maria with numerous unique skills taken from Otherworlders, creating what he considered his ultimate masterpiece. However, he acknowledges that it would never be enough to challenge Luminous. Maria had long since passed away, yet you chose to desecrate her like this? Luminous demands, gently laying Maria's body on the ground. Granbell remains firm, declaring that his actions were necessary. As he speaks, he removes a glove from his left hand, revealing a glowing inscription. In response, Maria's body transforms into light and is absorbed into the sigil. Instantly, Granbell's power surges. His magical and physical abilities skyrocket, his body rejuvenates, and his white hair turns golden. The legendary hero of the past, Granbell Rosso, has returned. Luminous gasps. You even infused my divine love energy into Maria's body? It turned out that he had transferred the energy of love, a power blessed by Luminous that helps maintain youth, into Maria. Our duel remains unfinished, Luminous. I cannot die until it is resolved. He then unleashes Melt Slash, a devastating attack without needing an incantation. Hinata barely dodges, shocking Rimuru with Granbell's ability to wield such a technique so effortlessly. Ignoring the others, Granbell turns back to Hinata, lamenting that she never became a true hero. He theorizes that she harbors a deep trauma, perhaps having killed a loved one, such as a family member or close friend. If she could overcome this darkness, she might still awaken as a hero. Enraged, Hinata charges at Granbell. Their swords clash, but in an instant, Granbell's overwhelming strength sends her flying. The difference in strength between her and Granbell was too big. Watching from a distance, Rimuru realizes that Hinata is not Granbell's true target. His real objective is... Raphael warns, target identified, Chloe. Granbell unleashes a Melt Slash enhanced version, aimed directly at Chloe. The attack moves at the speed of light, making it impossible for Rimuru to intercept in time. Chloe! Rimuru shouts desperately. At the last moment, Hinata throws herself in front of the attack, taking the full brunt of the blast. The energy pierces through her chest, sending her crashing to the ground. Yet the attack does not dissipate. It continues toward Chloe. Before it can reach her, Venom intervenes, shielding Chloe with his own body. A gaping hole forms in his abdomen, but as a demon, his soul remains intact, allowing him to survive. Using Lord of Gluttony. Beelzebub, Rimuru absorbs the remaining energy and teleports to Chloe's side, shielding her with absolute defense. Chloe, in shock, rushes toward Hinata, who is barely clinging to life. Luminous arrives as well, immediately attempting to heal her. Venom was also using a recovery potion and was instructed by Rimuru to watch over the children. Did you just say Chloe? Leon was extremely agitated when he knew that the person he had been looking for was right in front of him. However, despite Luminous's best efforts, Hinata's condition worsens. The spiritrons from Granbell's attack continue eroding her body and soul. Luminous successfully heals her physical injuries, but her astral form is rapidly disintegrating. Hinata, barely conscious, extends her hand to Chloe, offering her the moonlit rapier and holy armaments. I leave this to you. I couldn't wield it properly, but you can. One day, you'll surpass me. Tears streaming down her face, Chloe shakily reaches out and touches Hinata's hand. In an instant, Hinata's body glows, and the light is absorbed into Chloe. The battlefield falls silent. Even time itself seems to freeze. Then, without warning, Chloe disappears. Everyone stands in stunned silence. Leon, upon realizing Chloe is gone, grips Rimuru's shoulders in a panic. Chloe, where is she? Rimuru, what have you done? Rimuru, equally confused, responds, I don't know. Even Raphael offers no answers. Unknown. The situation is abnormal. No information available regarding individual Chloe Aubert. For the first time, even Raphael cannot explain what has happened. The battle is not yet over, but the fate of Chloe remains a mystery. At that moment, Luminous paid no attention to Chloe's disappearance. Her mind was consumed by something far more important. Hinata, her most precious companion, was gone forever. She had attempted to use resurrection magic, but it was completely ineffective, vanishing into thin air. The feeling of helplessness and despair, this pain could be compared to Veldora destroying Luminous's old kingdom. She silently asked why and apologized to Hinata. Tears also began to fall. But before she could fully grieve, a sinister laugh echoed through the air. Granbell. He was laughing in delight, satisfied that everything had gone exactly as planned. No time for mourning, Luminous. Everything is going just as expected. The sight of the man who had taken Hinata away right before her eyes ignited a raging inferno within her. She had lost everything before, and now, Hinata, her most cherished person, was gone too. This devastating surge of emotion triggered a transformation within her. A voice resonated through her mind. Confirmation. Conditions met. Unique skill Lust has evolved into ultimate skill, Lord of Lust Asmodeus. In that instant, Luminous's power skyrocketed to an entirely new level. Lord of Lust Asmodeus? An ultimate skill that governed life and death? Had awakened the moment Luminous was overwhelmed by the despair of losing Hinata. But to her, none of that mattered anymore. It was already too late. She didn't care about this newfound power. There was only one thing that mattered, the enemy standing before her. Her heterochromatic eyes, one red and one blue, glowed with ruthless determination, resembling a monster locking onto its prey. And then, she charged at Granbell. After more than 1,000 years, fate had once again brought them to their final battle. The video ends here. Thank you for listening. Goodbye and see you in the next video.